Charlie, we watched the game together, which we thought was going to be nice. Before the game, we was like, this would be nice, we'll watch the game together. How on earth do you sum that up? Because we have won the game, so we have to start there, 3 points on the board, which is a plus. But the performance and being 2 goals down and the emotions that came with it was just ridiculous.
Yeah, lots of emotions. I think I said to you at the time, like, that must be a record for how quickly we've gone 2-0 down at Old Trafford. What was it, within 4 minutes?
Yeah, 4 minutes.
And I did say to you, we'd come back and win, but like, it's not good enough. The performance was shocking at times, to be honest. I think the first goal, like, I'm actually quite impressed in terms of Rashford getting to the byline and putting it across for Eriksen. We see Rashford cutting in, and we talked about this. Like, Rashford cuts in a lot on his right foot and shoots. But I think with Anthony as well on the right, we can get our wingers to the byline a little bit more, and we can create dangerous chances. And obviously Eriksen gets the goal, and then you sort of think we're going to get maybe a second and a third before half time, but it takes time. And then obviously we get the set piece goal, which we we literally said 5 seconds before we need to work on our set pieces. And then it was a beautiful routine.
We're the worst fans, me and you. You would have seen before we scored. Me and Charlie were like, there's no way this is going in. We never score from free kicks. Why is it everyone else can score from free kicks, never us? And it was actually really well worked.
Yeah, it was. And we need to do it more.
Yeah.
Because we were one of the worst teams from set pieces.
Absolutely.
Last season. It was really, really well worked. And we had a lot of other chances. Balls flashed across the box. And eventually, obviously, we got the penalty and we got the win. But the way we managed that last 15, 20 minutes was dreadful. Absolutely dreadful.
It was. There's just no control. Whether it was, well, clearly there was no control at 2-0 down. Then there's chances, but you're still seeing a dangerous Forest on the counter. Awani, Brendan Johnson, Gibbs White. We knew that would happen, and we just looked so vulnerable. And then at 10 men, we kind of said, this could have the reverse effect here. Remember, we said that quite early into them having 10 men, and we went, this might have the reverse effect. And again, game management, well, hearts in the mouth all the way to the end.
But you know what happens when a team has 10 men against you? Sometimes you fall into the trap of making it a scrappy game, because that's what they want. And we gave them, they used the long throws, they used the sort of the corners, they had
gave away silly fouls.
We gave away silly fouls, gave them set piece chances, and they had a couple of nearly moments. Onana made a great save as well.
Massive save for Willy Bolly.
Yeah.
He scored a brace. You get Alanga. Alanga's, flashed it across. I don't know how Chris Wood hasn't gotten the end of that. It was. There were a lot of worrying signs. How do you analyse this in terms of we did win, but not convincingly?
No.
But the performances are not good. How do you analyse that?
I think we've not got the right balance between control and transitional elements. Because I know Ten Hag talked about we want to be the best transition team in the world, but you can't just rely on transitions to win games and control games. You've also got to have some elements of control in your game. And I think we saw, like we were talking about, like the way we were building up. Like in the first half, Dalot was going into an 8 position with
so high
with Bruno, and then Eriksen was the 1, and Casemiro went up to the back 3, which is quite interesting. And I thought Dalot played okay. I thought quite a few sloppy passes, but a few good moments as well. But I think Ten Hag was trying to basically he didn't want Eriksen to be that high rate. He wanted Eriksen to be the sitter, just to try and get on the ball. But I don't think it worked that well as we liked. And we were talking before, we need a player. We're never going to get another Michael Carrick, but we need a player of the ilk who can just put their foot on the ball for a few seconds and just play a 5-yard pass and demand the ball, play it into me, and I'll literally, like a wall pass, like you play it to me, I play it back, like you just get it straight back.
Keep us ticking, just set some tempo. Say, I tell you what, it's a bit frantic. Give me it.
Exactly.
Give me it. Give it back. You have it. Give me it again. And that's what Carrick used to do so well. Yeah. Tempo setters. Even Scholes would do that.
I think Eriksen is the best at what we've got at doing it, but he's not very good at it. But he is sort of the best at what we've got. But I still think we need at least one more midfielder. I've just seen we're still waiting for Amrabat, like still going on. But I don't think even Amrabat isn't that type of player. He sees the smaller passes more often. But I think we have to improve the way. And even though Ten Hag, even from his Ajax days, we know Ten Hag wants to play he wants direct attacks, he wants fast attacks, but I think we have got to adapt. When you're playing against 10 men, we're 3-2 up, there is no need to play those ambitious passes.
It was almost like we were making sure we were trying to go and get a fourth, playing long balls across the pitch, trying to put people in 1v1, and you're like, please just take the sting out of the game and keep the ball. Can we just play like 5-10 passes in a row and make them run around a bit, let them get a little bit tired, make them give away a silly foul from frustration? But the way we were just giving away possession, when they had 10 men. Just again,
Like, if that's even a half decent Premier League team, they pass it round and they see the game out. Like, it's pathetic, really. And like I say, we've got Arsenal up next and then Brighton after, so we're going to have to massively improve. I know Arsenal haven't won today, but we said Arsenal at the Emirates always turn up against us every single year.
I mean, them
in
drawing
recent
against
years,
Fulham.
we've had a bad record there, so we've got to massively improve. And I think part of it's personnel. I think part of it's on Ten Hag as well. I just think he's got to adapt one or two things. I think we've just got to. I think he's given instructions to Casemiro to try and play direct as possible, but I think we've just got to realise Casemiro cannot do that consistently. He has the odd good pass.
Sometimes he sweeps it out to the left or sweeps
he has
out
the odd
to the right.
good pass, but not consistent.
The good things, because I don't want this to just be all negative. You know, we avoided. We spared our blushes today. We avoided the embarrassing defeat, and you can say it was a bit of an embarrassing performance against the Forest side who's not good on the road and all that. But the bottom line is we've got 3 points.
Yeah.
What were some of the good things? You know, the fact, is there character in there? You know, you're 2-0 down, you're rocked. You know, you think of boxers. I know you don't really follow boxing like that, but I'm pretty sure you understand the notion of you've been floored twice.
Yeah.
You know, can you get up? Can you steady your legs? Can you steady your head? And not panic and get back into the game, and is that obviously clearly a plus?
Yeah, it's a plus. I mean, you just know we're not losing that type of game at Old Trafford. That's a plus. We just know that
at 2-0, you was like, oh, we're going to win.
Yeah, we're going to win.
I was not saying that. I was not saying that.
I knew we were going to. I was checking the Arsenal score.
Yeah, you was. I was like, Charlie, mate, we're 2-0 down, mate. You're like, Arsenal's 1-0 down. I was like, so. So you knew this was going to happen. You knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, and that is a positive. We have that. I think the fans know. Like, even if we go down at Old Trafford against like a bottom half team, we sort of know we're always going to at least get back to a draw. Even like Leeds at home last season, and that is obviously a good thing. But I think, Flex, I don't think we can take that from the game and say I'm really happy.
Well done with the men. You haven't left that. Usually after being 2-0 down, say it was a good team. No, actually, I take that back, because Forest, they've actually given a good account of them. We don't get to say they're not a good team after how they've played against us. But you know what I mean, against a team higher up, if that was a Brighton or Aston Villa or something like that, you'll go, I tell you what, we've done really well to get back into that and win that. But this doesn't feel like that.
No, there's not enough positives. I think, again, Wan-Bissaka had a decent game again. I thought Bruno, he does frustrate you at times, but I think the fans really get behind his just... He's always willing to impact a game, and I think fans get behind that. Particularly at Old Trafford with the Man United way, for example, in the past. I think they always want to get behind Bruno. So yeah, I think it's like a typical Manchester United performance. This season, we just can't perform well for a whole 90 minutes.
No, it's
we had a good little spell of like sustaining attacks, like we talked about. The crowd got behind us, but we just don't do it often enough. And there's a real, I think in recent years we've lacked technical players, but there's a real physicality issue as well, particularly in midfield. In the first few minutes, we were just getting run through far too easily. I think that is a personnel issue as well. I think that's maybe why we're looking at not just Amrabat, but we've seen links to Onana from Everton. I think that's probably why. And I don't think Ten Hag trusts McTominay. I don't think Ten Hag trusts McTominay.
He doesn't. He's really reluctant to use him, isn't he? Like, he was reluctant to use him against Spurs. Didn't use him against Spurs. Went to him late against Wolves. Went to him late here when he realised that just 10 men and they're just lumping balls in. He went, let me just give me some height. But essentially, like you said, he doesn't really fancy him.
This
clearly
late on in the window, I don't think we're going to sell him on. So obviously, we're only going to bring in Amrabat, but I think we need two. I think we really need two in that midfield.
Lastly, did Anthony improve for you today?
Partly in the second half, but we talked about it before. Like, he's very one-dimensional, and I'm willing to give him a bit more time. I just think he used his right foot once, I think in the first half. He went to the byline and he looked a lot more dangerous when he went on the outside, like Rashford did. We got the Rashford penalty and the Eriksen goal from our wingers going on the outside. We need to do that more often. You see so many City goals. They get to the byline, they cut the ball back. It's such a dangerous position. I think when we play an inverted winger on that right hand side, we do lose out on that. And we don't really have an overlapping right back, so we lose out on that. And I think Anthony needs to.
Rashford needs to be more direct as well, because when he was direct, things happened, and then the more intricate stuff and the decision making. I
agree. We talked about it during the game. Like, Rashford actually didn't opt to shoot as often as he did before. He actually he went on the outside a bit more often, and it's Højlund, those type of movements towards the near post, he's really good at. So hopefully we can make the most of that.
Man of the match.
I'd probably give it to Bruno. But it wasn't really fantastic.